When you say nation, you talk about land. Our land is Africa. That's undeniable. This land is not our land.
That what Frantz Fanon's theory, psychological theory, is that we're in a post-colonial psychology. And what he calls that is an auto-destructional stage, which is the oppressor will oppress for so long that the oppressed no longer have to be physically oppressed. They do it to themselves automatically.
I'm black. Do you hear me, man? Do you understand? I am black. I'm a nigga. You understand me? I was born black, I live black, and I'm gonna die probably because I'm black. Because some cracker that knows I'm black better than you, nigga, is probably gonna put a bullet in the back of my head.
Hey man, it's like this, man. It's like, you know, it's like it's revolution time, man. There's no questions asked. Revolution is here. You know what I'm saying? We the youth, we the young. It's time for us to break loose, you know? We don't have no freedom, no rights, man. We slaves right now. Everybody's still a slave. That's what they told us today. In other words, you still a slave. No matter how much money you got, you still ain't shit. So, you know, it's on, just like that. Just like
are really ready and willing to pay the price that is necessary for freedom. Our people will always be walking around here second-class citizens, or what you call 20th century slaves.
What price are you talking about, sir?
The price of freedom is death.
What's the figure?
I mean, what are you in this for? You want power, you want revenge, you know? What is it?
It's simple, Willie. I just want to be free.
Uhuru. Welcome to Uhuru Mindset. It's Ikemba, Feist, and Christine. This is Revolutionary Conversations for Revolutionary Times. This show is brought to you by the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, or Mpdm for short. I want to acknowledge our president, Columbayi Antoinette, who is currently running for alderperson of Ward 3 in St. Louis, as well as the founder and the leader of the Uhuru Movement, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Uhuru means freedom in Swahili and is the conceptual basis for which we organize and develop African or Black-controlled institutions, in addition to resisting the colonial system that has been designed to subject us to a perpetual state of subjugation. Uhuru Mindset is meant to raise our consciousness to our identity and function of colonialism in our daily lives, in ways that we can transcend systems of oppression and exploitation. Our show will consist of interviews with ordinary people from our community to discuss past and present ways colonialism affected them and their community and what we can do to transform our conditions. Colonialism is a system in which one group directly or indirectly controls the politics and economics of another group. This has traditionally been done by settlement from the colonizer. Today, colonialism can be exercised through indirect rule or neo-colonialism. We plan to bring dynamic and stimulating discussions to our viewers and represent an alternative to culture vultures and opportunists who have no intention on bringing practical solutions to our problems. This show is for the African or Black working class and poor. This show represents your interests and will tell your story. Anyone can watch, but this message is for you. Uhuru. All right, so at this moment, I pause because at this moment, we're going to play a track by Bigga Dre. Everybody listen to this, y'all. This is fire right here. And you got to listen to the words. You might have some questions afterwards because of some things that's being spoken about in this particular track. So
I definitely encourage the questions and to definitely listen. Attentive.
Yeah.
When we talk about this is human trafficking, I mean, people have to understand as a part of this game, literally, you have 12, 14, 15, 16-year-old girls who are being used.
Absolutely, and the predators are being so sophisticated nowadays. They're utilizing social media to recruit these youth. And, you know, we as parents need to monitor what our children are doing.
They polluting our water, chips in our sons and our daughters. Depot, ricochet shots that echo through the block, the menstrual cycle. Woven sheep's clothing is trifle, camouflage, demagogues. Walk the streets at night, yo, I'm applaud. They got us walking around here lunching with credit cards. They monitor our first injunction. Yeah, if you don't see the plan, the system is a scam. Tell me why they call the ones who oppress us the fucking man. Damn, reversing our roles. I guess you call a man a woman. The woman is who nurses our soul, use her body and whole. She gave birth to the globe, even birth to my son, who I'm thankful I know. Without you, my completion secretion is an investment. Protect the black woman's womb. She is the best kept. Better respect that, never neglect that. Mountains, skies, highs to low. I'm screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. From mountains, skies, highs to low. I'm screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. From mountains, skies, highs to low. I'm screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. From mountains, skies, highs to low. Screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. It's been established, written on tablets. Without them, without him. Eagle to Phoenix, skull, skeleton, bone, bulimic, Bohemic Grove. Hell Kitchen, lit the stove, torch, fill a force. Intercourse, my memoirs, journal, eternal life. Paradox eclipse, reciprocate while I'm 9 to B6. Here is wisdom, cash is the cashless, monetary system. Prism default, ritual is a cult. The 5-pointed star, all-seeing, psychology, penial cyst. Politics, philosophy of polytheists. Expose a secret replacing Jacob's a plan a nation. I know the blasphemy who stole a birthright. Y'all know who cursed right? Mischief maker, the pizza gator. For 400 years they got you waiting, praying for the savior. I say that now is the time. Become the alpha and omega. Let's get this paper. From mountains, skies, high to low. I'm screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. From mountains, skies, highs to low. I'm screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. From mountains, skies, highs to low. I'm screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back. From mountains, skies, highs to low. Screaming, let my people go. Bring our girls back.
And our organization, we are actively looking for these missing kids. No particular information, however, we know right here in the metropolitan area that human trafficking is on the rise. A lot of people think this is happening abroad, but this is happening right here in our own backyard. And I think the numbers are staggering and alarming, to say the least.
That was amazing. I want to listen to it again, but we have to put that link in the bio. We got to put that link in the chat. We have to put the link everywhere. I love that. I love that song. I was listening to the lyrics. I felt so empowered at the line where it was like, protect the woman's womb. She birthed the glow. I was just like, oh my goodness. But Uhuru family, I'm so excited to be here as one of your hosts once again, one of the panelists. I'm a part of course, Mpdm New York. I'm excited to introduce our powerful and passionate, diligent, exuberant guest. He is a community activist, an organizer, and an edutainer, I would say. Bigga Dre, welcome to Uhuru Mindset. We are so happy to have you here. So we want to get started with you telling us a little bit about yourself. I think that's a...
before he goes into that, we was talking about your response when we say edutainer.
He said,
I was looking at you when she said that. He was like,
yeah.
Stop giving away
it worked.
Our pre-production conversations things.
I'm sorry.
I'm just joking. But yeah, you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Bigga Dre. I'm also known as first, before I introduce myself, I want to thank you all for, one, creating the platform so that we can have constructive dialogue. I love coming on platforms like this because you get to an audience that actually they're seeking, they know, or, you know, it's just a good atmosphere to be in. So I want to thank you for creating a platform, a space, and a place where we can get constructive dialogue and get the information out to the people. So with that being said, and thank you, brother Akimba, for inviting me on. So again, my name is Bigga Dre. I'm from the world-renowned Inner Vibe Sound. I'm also known as Mpdm. I'm a youth mentor, community organizer, event planner, and an educator, among other things. I really don't like to go down the whole line because it's like, well, what do you do? I forgot to mention recording artist. So
right, it's a lot, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of things, a lot of different things that I do. And I don't want people to get the idea like, well, this is just a circus going on. Like, who is this guy really? But I'm just, I'm here with the family, and I'm here to, time is given to fulfill purpose. And I think the time right now, we're in that time period of eschatology that, where, it's the signs of the time. So like, the whole campaign is a little bit more than human trafficking. That's just where we're starting at. That's why it's like eschatology, all caps, and then in the brackets, it's like bring our girls back. Because it's like, all right, we gotta attack things one at a time. But I understand that no man or woman is an island. So my intention is to unify with like minds, because as one, we can definitely overcome the challenges.
Definitely. And I know you said you don't want to go through the list and the line of what you are and everything you do, but we're very multidimensional. We are complex. And I think it's important to say what we're a part of and everything we're doing, because people out there listening, something may trigger, as they're listening, they're like, wait, did he just say that? And then they'll go look you up, or wait, what did he just say? I'm real interested in that. And then they'll go look that part up. But that's only like a small part of what you do or who we are. And, I even hesitate saying that because we aren't what we do, but it sometimes becomes a part of us. But again, we're very multidimensional and complex. So I think it's fine to say everything you're a part of and give yourself all your flowers and big yourself up, So your name, what was the other name you said? So I see that it's
Mpdm.
And that's a Kemetic name, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I'm not gonna pronounce it. I'm not gonna say it and mess it up. So yeah, I really, really like that.
I won't trip.
Okay.
You'd be surprised how many people I'll say my name is Amun, like in the community, like the elders and some of the community members, they'll just say, brother, I'll tell them my name is Amani, and they'll say Amani, and I'm like, I did not say an E. There was no E there, and they'll say Amani. But I think a lot of times we look at things on the surface, and because our mind, we're reactionary creatures, maybe that's who they perceive me as, money or something like that. But I was like, no, it's Amun. So we'll have like almost a 40 to 50 second, thing where I'm having to explain it's and then
that's it. Just 2 syllables. Don't try to add syllables to my name. I made it easier for you. You want to make it more complicated. Us as humans, we complicate everything. So
people struggle with traditional names. We've been speaking in the colonizer's tongue for so long, if you think about our people, when we hear African names, unless we like really conscious and connected to our ancestors and our culture and traditions, like we kind of we turn our nose up at those names, we look at like, what, why don't you have a simple name, like Mark or something like that, and so like we've been so far removed, like those those names, we don't even want to pronounce those names. They're difficult for us,
right.
So
that's the colonial mindset. That's the other show.
Yeah, that's the
right. It's the opposite of Uhuru mindset. Yeah. I'm guilty of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but we work on that. We do more decolonialization, and getting used to our African tongue and African sensitiveness. Getting involved in the work that takes us out of that colonial mindset and puts us in the Uhuru mindset.
Indeed. Could I ask? Oh, go ahead.
Of course. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going. So this particular campaign that you are. This campaign that you have is bringing our girls back. You're raising people's awareness to our African melanated women and girls that are being abducted. So human trafficking, in a sense, and it made me think about what I was having this conversation with you in regards to this particular topic or issue, critical issue. It made me think about human trafficking that took place hundreds of years ago, like going back to the beginning of the African slave trade. And, women in particular were, like when they were taking men and boys out of Africa, what the colonizer had realized is that the African women were the ones who were the agriculturalists in Africa. And so they began to start taking African women and girls out of Africa at an alarming rate once they found that out. So I say that to say that, you know, the abduction or trafficking of African women at a higher rate than other groups has been happening for hundreds of years. And so, you know, this isn't even a current issue. I mean, it's a current issue, but I mean, it's not a new issue. You know, this is something that's been going on for a long time. So I appreciate you taking this on. And I guess I want to know is like, how has the community been responding to this particular issue?
Like the album we Inner Vibe Sound that we released in January of 2020, it's a hard push. That's the name of our album, the fifth studio album that we just, you know, released on our label from our group Inner Vibe Sound. It's a hard push. So the community, we have to recognize where we are at mentally as a people, and you have to have awareness of self. Like you have to have knowledge of yourself, you know. So I use a certain science. So I don't necessarily get resistance from the community, but I understand that you're not really responsible for the expectations, but I try to do my best to get great results. So to basically answer your question, the community there right now, I think they're trying to, you know, see what it is. They don't know how important it is. They don't see how serious it really is. So they're more of like looking at it from a bird's eye view, even though it's right in front of their face. I think they're really trying to really understand it, trying to really pick it up, trying to get it in a way where they can.
I think. What do you think? Because I'm looking at the media coverage having a lot to do with that. Maybe they don't think it's a serious thing because the media isn't covering it the way that they should. You know, as if it's a real serious issue, if it's a critical issue.
Well, I mean, if you listen to and that's why I'm strategic in the way I go about addressing this issue. So like, you know, the track that we listen to, it's not a song, it's a PSA. I'm putting labels so that I can be clear and intentional on that this is a special type of work. It's a public service announcement. So you can listen to it and you can vibe to it, you can vibe to it, but like the sister said, you're going to be empowered. So it's just like, I think that, yeah, the media plays a big role. If you really listen to that PSA in the beginning, they address that at the beginning when they're talking about, you know, a lot of people think it's just happening in this area and it's just going on. And that's why I have that commentary in the beginning so that people can kind of tune in. Like
commentary was very, very helpful. Yeah, that's why I started taking notes. But can we take it a step back briefly? Because we have listeners all over the world, all over the globe, and we're at different educational levels. Like we're just at different levels. Let's just say that, right? So what is human trafficking? Can you give us an overview and why you are interested in this work, or what made you interested in this? There's so many things that you could advocate for or be interested in. So what is your connection to human trafficking? Why this initiative, and what is it?
Well, basically, you know, this capitalist society that we live in now was based on, you know, human trafficking. We're in the month of February, so you know, this is a great platform to educate some of our people who are not familiar with the Ma'afa. So when we talk about human trafficking, we have to take it to that level of things. Like I said, it's not just, a lot of times when I you know, talk to people about the campaign, they automatically just think sex trafficking. This is human trafficking. We're not just talking about, you know, this sex trafficking is a part of human trafficking. You know, so human trafficking is when human beings are taken with, you know, not a consensual agreement, and they're taken from one place to another, and they're used as chattel property. They're coerced and placed into conditions, and they're used. And it's nothing wrong with being, and when I say they're used, they're being misused, and they're not being given the opportunity of freedom, liberation, and, you know, for those who want to be equal or equality. They're not given the natural right that you were born. This is the natural right. So we've actually been born into human trafficking.
Human trafficking and slavery.
I would say more human trafficking is, I wouldn't say slave. I would say, because slave comes from the word Slavic. Human trafficking is kidnapping.
Kidnapping. Okay.
You know, it's kidnapping. It's taking people, put them in bondage, giving them misinformation, conditioning them to be just that, just property, and to be used for whatever purpose the person who's trafficking has in mind, and to also to program the individuals to make them think that it's okay, or scare them into
right. They brainwash them. Right. Okay.
Acceptance.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You made a great point too. You said that human trafficking, you said that capitalism, how did you put it? You said that human trafficking is
it's what fuels capitalism.
Fuels capitalism, yeah. So when you said that, you know, like that's African internationalism right there. That's, I just thought about, you know, as far as in our movement, you know, we have an understanding that the, you know, capitalism was built off of the trafficking of African people, the genocide of indigenous people, you know, of this land, and the enslavement of African and indigenous people. And so, you know, it just goes to show how this system hasn't changed. Like it's inherent, it's built into the system to oppress and colonize people in order to fuel the beast. And so, yeah, I think that was an important point that you made.
Right. And another thing I want people to know is, like I said, we starting off, it's eschatology, bring our girls back. But when we talk about human trafficking, we're going into different areas of human trafficking. We're talking about the prison industrial complex. This is another form of human, this is layers to this. We're just starting with bringing our girls back because, you know, it's the time of the woman. And as a Black man, you know, being a protector and keeper of the Black woman, it's a necessity that we show up. We're present, and we're letting the woman know that you don't have to feel insecure, because this is not like, this is a public service announcement. This is not to give people fear. Fear is false expectations appearing real. This is giving them the correct information so that they can prepare themselves to put things in place. Prevention. So if you see a vehicle riding in our community and it's a cargo vehicle and it doesn't have windows, and, you know, it's just like, all right, you know, human trafficking is going on.
Yeah.
You know, pay attention. You know, we just take things for granted. And there are a lot of things that's, you know, taking place that we really need to put it at our priority list. And this human trafficking, I mean, and there are certain principalities that govern us, certain services that hide behind, certain institutions that hide behind different names that are taking children and from away from families, you know, and trying to hide behind, you know, things like, okay, well, you know, this is an unfit parent, you know, when in reality, then you take them into another environment, and then the family who is, you know, maybe some of the families, they're not in an unfit environment, but some of these families are still fighting. Meanwhile, the system is capitalizing because they're that child who's in this, you know, established this system is being held like ransom. You want your child back, you got to do this, that, and the third. And every day, you know, this person is going to work and they say, well, you got to do this and do that. And it's like, you know, it's a lot of layers to this.
Uhuru family, I am Empress Livewire. I'm here with some church announcements, as I like to call them. Make sure you tune into Uhuru Mindset each and every Sunday at 8 p.m. Again, that's each and every Sunday at 8 p.m. We will be premiering our Uhuru Mindset episodes on Facebook and YouTube. If you care about African people, if you care about the liberation of African people, go to npdm.org. That's INPDUM.org. Join the movement. What is NPDM? I'm so happy that you asked. We were founded in 1991 by the African People's Socialist Party. NPDM is the leading organization in the struggle for bread, peace, and Black power in the 21st century. We are community organizers defending the international democratic rights of all colonized African communities. So if you care about African liberation, if you care about African communities, go to npdem.org. We are accepting donations via PayPal for the New York branch. If you care to donate, our PayPal email is nyc.npdum@gmail.com. I'll spell it out. That's nyc.inpdum@gmail.com. We appreciate your donations. What are some practical tips that our women and girls can keep in mind to stay safe?
Well, one, I think, you know, we have to start getting back to our traditional ways as African people. You know, so that means like we're the village. So, you know, brothers and sisters, you know, you shouldn't travel alone. And you should definitely communicate with your close relatives, family members, and let them know where you're going. If you listen to the beginning of, like I said, the PSA, it talks about how these traffickers are using social media to basically entice young women, and it tells. That's why I have the PSA to kind of give people insights into some of the things that they should look into. But, you know, don't travel alone. I think that, you know, like traditionally we say an idle mind is a devil workshop. Be mindful of the conversations and the things that you engage in. You know, be mindful of the company you keep. And you know what's so scary about this whole situation? Like if we go into the whole transatlantic slavery, you know, with the Ma'afa, you know, those who want to just paint this picture of, you know, it's all our fault, they'll use this a lot. They'll say, well, you know, some of your own people sold you into slavery. So with this human trafficking, it's layers to this. There are actually people who there are people who are related to people who are soliciting their family members out. So you just got to kind of be mindful, you know, and just kind of be aware of all of these different things that's actually going on. And I think that yeah, that for the most part, that's some of the things that we can do for quality control. With this campaign, one of the goals is to develop an app, a missing person app that prioritizes melanated people. We have the Amber Alert, but I think that, like most of our challenges, if we don't respond, we won't get the results that we need. Not the results that we want, but we won't get the results that we need because this is something that is directly affecting us. So those are, I mean, I hope I gave you some insights. And if you listen, like I said, if you listen to the PSA, it tells you some other, you know, insights that you can use.
Absolutely. Thank you. I was definitely taking notes because I go a lot of places by myself. So
yeah, we shouldn't travel alone anyway. I mean, you see what's going on, like, you know, driving on the road, you know, you can get pulled over and, you know, it's just, you know what's going to happen. I mean, you could be traveling with someone. I mean, look at Philando, and goes out of the whole scope of human trafficking, but look at what happened to Philando Castile. I mean, you could be
Right. He was with
good.
his village, with his family, and still. So imagine if you're alone. So that's a great point. That's a great tip.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we are. We're tribal people by nature. That's what we are.
Okay. Yeah, you have made a point about how people raised that Africans were involved in the slave trade, and yeah, like that's one thing that when I hear that argument, you know, it disappoints me for one when it comes from another African. But you know what I want our people to realize is that there are many Africans who did not participate in the slave trade. You know, there was less Africans that participated in the slave trade than there were Africans who did. And so when we were brought over here, when Africans were brought to the United States, were brought to the Americas, there were relatives, there were people that were a part of our group that were left behind. Not all of us were brought here. And so, you know, do we turn our backs to the ones who were not a part of that, part of the slave trade, and say that, you know, just this blanket statement that, hey, you know, the Africans traded us into slavery? You know, so I think like that's a false way of looking at it. You know, they're falsifying history when they say that. So that's just one point, you know, I wanted to make in regards to that.
I think that's great that you said that, because it's the same thing with the whole trafficking thing. Like, you know, there were a number of Africans who did participate, but it's a disproportionate, it's not even a comparison. You know, this is the colonizer, the you know, and that's what I'm saying in the song. We know the blasphemy for those of who's cursed right. Y'all know who first right, mischief maker, the pizza gator. For 400 years, they got you waiting, praying for the savior.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So we got to really kind of flip the coin. That's what I'm saying. Like, you listen to,
we got to bring that hip hop back, man.
Mm-hmm. That's the eschatology. That's what I'm setting the tone with. And when you listen to it, when you go through this whole this PSA, and I'm intentional about not calling this song, it's so many different things that I'm talking about that we need to really get on. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the feminization of our men, because, you know, if we don't have the men acting in their natural nature, how can you feel a necessity or responsibility to protect the Black woman?
I say, wow.
So that's what this is like. This is like an instruction manual. It's the actual theme music behind the actual work. Because I could put a post up and say, stop human trafficking. But like I said, we're reactionary creatures. So we have the PSA, we have the visual, okay? And then we have the campaign where we're raising funds. We're constantly raising awareness. So if a person looks at a post and they're like, yeah, that's interesting. And they listen to, so let's say, look at the post and they say, man, I'm not really looking at, I don't like those type of posts. But they hear that beat and they hear that, those sounds and vibrations. You know how we go to our gatherings, you hear the drums playing and everything like that. You, even if you're not into what's being said there, the vibe in itself convicts you.
It's the beat, it's the instrumental. Because the words could be in a different language, but you're still moving. You like, it must be something good being said because it sound good, it feel good. So you make a really good point. You made another great point when you said, like, it seems like we're going off topic, but we're actually really not. And, you know, we all have to take accountability for certain things. Like, for instance, before I came to my senses, like if I would see our Black men, like maybe on social media platform or on TV with a wig on, we would laugh at that. It was funny, it was comedy. And like, as I came into my consciousness, I'm like, wait, this is actually not funny at all. I don't find anything funny about it. Because while we're women, you know, we'll accept certain things or say, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just this, like, you know, a man putting on a wig or putting on heels and acting as a woman. But if you really think about it, it's all connected. Human trafficking gets to be this big thing that's so scary in our community, because the man puts on the wig, the man is you know, acting like a woman, the woman's not being protected, the woman gets kidnapped. It's like it's all connected. So it may seem like we're off topic, but we're actually really not, because it's all a domino effect. So when you were talking, it made me really think about that.
Indeed. I said what I say, I say, if you don't see the plan, the system is a scam. Tell me why they call the ones who oppress us the man. You know, I'm like, and then I say, damn, reversing our roles. I guess you call a man a woman. So it's like we can't even interact the way that we're naturally supposed to interact as a village, because they have us so disconnected from reality. So what I'm doing is opening up the mind, taking the cobwebs off the brain, and sparking interest and focus, you know, to real situations. Because it's interesting. Like, I was talking to one of my elders, and they were telling me, you know, it's like, what's the best way for us to address issues that affect us? And I was like, well, first we gotta unite. And so one of the elders had said, well, you know, Dr. Molefi Asante says, you know, no, it's consciousness before unification. And I had to sit back and I had to think about it. I'm like, you know, is it consciousness before unification? So that's something I'm kind of still playing with, that idea. I still think that I think you can get people to unite without them even being conscious, because I think the media does it. But it's definitely something to examine, you know.
That's a good.
I think go ahead, it could be a matter of repetition. You know, I think that's what we're pondering in this discussion. You know, but I've been taking in the whole program and everything, and from the bit that I've learned about human trafficking on my own, and being an African internationalist, learning about the slave castles, how the colonizer immediately recognized that the African woman is another source, another producing entity, you know, and a lot of the contradictions that we're talking about speaking to economic relationship, you know, service kind of relationship. And it's funny, like today's quote unquote parasitic capitalistic economy, they say the service industry is the biggest area of the industry here in the United States. And service, if you will, that's what Africans were originally kidnapped for in the first place, right? That's that human trafficking, like you spoke about earlier, and the colonial mindset that we mentioned earlier, where we are looking at different ways to get across a message to our people that our people need and have it resonate, you know. But when we look at the colonizers' way of indoctrinating our people and having our people assimilate, you know, that in itself, that's the repetition that keeps drumming those particular ideas in our brains. And with the music is a perfect way to get a message across, unbeknown to the listener, you know, even if they're not even in tune with the topic of the song, the cadence of the vocals, the rhythm of the music, the melody, you know, the drops and the breaks and all that stuff helps to keep the people in tune. And you know, that almost sounds metaphysical, you know, but the thing that is pressing us mostly is to be in a situation where we have control of everything happening in our community, and being able to protect ourselves, our family units, is paramount. And any kind of media that we have, music that we make, should be used to win our people to that understanding. So I just want to commend you for doing this project, and I understand every month there'll be a different PSA to go along with the project. So I'm tuned in and interested to see what the next month is going to hold and the rest of it coming up. But I don't know, what's the duration of the project? Like these PSAs to happen the rest of the year, or will it be, you know, up until a period?
Great question. And I see it. There was a question from someone in the chat as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the chat after you answer that.
Clarity, but to answer, you know, like at the beginning of the show, I had mentioned like some of the things that I've done, you know, with this pandemic, you know, I have not been doing too much of the community events I think, you know, everything is in divine order. And I think that this was, for me personally, because, you know, we all have different things that we are here to do, and then we come together in whatever capacity that you've been, you know, assigned to a certain assignment to do. I think that this is my assignment. So the campaign is going to run until 2020. It's going to run until we reach the goal. The goal is to reach our goal by March. But again, you know, this is something that I received. You know, our ancestors, they communicate through us through inspiration and intellect. So this is something that I received, but it's something that has a lot of different legs and arms to it. So there are other people that I need to connect with to make this come into fruition. So to answer your question, this campaign is going to go till 2021 until we reach our goal. I had it to stop in March, and we were going to celebrate in March for Women's History Month. But we're going to have to extend it because we need to get people more. Like, for instance, this clip that we have for the eschatology, Bring Our Girls Back, it should be viral. I mean, I see so much things going on social media that goes viral. It doesn't even make any sense. Here we have a real serious issue. And it goes back to what you asked earlier about how is the community responding to it, Akimba. But it's about getting it out there. So, you know, we want to reach our goal. If you look in the chat, I did put the link.
Yes, that's the link to donate to the goal.
That's the link. And for those also, for those who want to participate, because, you know, again, you know, facilitating the campaign, I'm doing all these different things. I can't do it all, so we're looking for additional groups.
I need a team. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, to help fundraise and work with us.
Did you put your email in the chat as well for anyone that wants to reach out to assist with being a part of the team and volunteering?
Yes.
Okay.
And shout out to you guys. I'm glad that you know, we officially have you on board.
You know, in a minute we're going to close out and then open it up for questions. Feist is going to give a summation. But the chat is definitely cooking because there was like sort of a connection that was being made with, you know, the people putting on wigs and, you know, bringing up of the feminization of African men. And I think somebody raised a great point in the chat as far as just like, what is the connection with that, you know, someone putting on a wig and colonialism, which is like the bigger issue, because you know, I would say that, you know, there's many people in the community that in the African community that identify themselves in ways that may not, you know, that we may not think is traditional in the African community. So with that being said, you know, do those people though have you know, a role in the African Revolution? Who, you know, do we want to, you know, oppress a group because we feel like someone, you know, has some sort of agenda, but like missing the reality is that, you know, that there's people in the community that's not necessarily trying to push anything on other groups of people, but I think like it marginalizes those groups of people when we sort of, you know, put out there that there's this like grand, you know, scheme to try to feminize African men. So I don't, you know, I don't know if that's like a, you know, question or statement, but, you know.
It's a statement. No, I'm joking.
I would like to, like Empress suggested earlier, for us to really go through the song again, just so you can kind of see how, because it's the way that I put it together, and I don't even feel like I put it together. I just feel like I received it from the ancestors.
The divine, yeah.
Everything is explained. So if we can listen to it again, I think if, with intention, I think that answer will, definitely you can get.
Yeah, after the summation, we could go out with that song. I feel like, yeah, the song could definitely be analyzed. And I think on first listen, a lot of bars were going over my head. I'm like, I was supposed to get that part. But so with that being said, like I have to listen to it even more than twice, more than 3 times to get each bar.
Indeed. So what we'll do is, so you can leave the people with, well, Empress.
Before I say that, I want to acknowledge and shout out to everybody who joined, to the attendees. I see some comrades on the attendees list. Uhuru to our editor-in-chief, Yomi Love. I gave you some work to do, but I love you. Uhuru to Andrea Harrison. She's from Philly Unfiltered. She said Bigga Dre, respect King. Y'all both from Philly. Yeah. Uhuru, Stacy, Rose. Uhuru to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. We feel the energy. So even though this isn't live, we really appreciate this because we feel the energy of the people who are watching, listening in, and joining us. So Uhuru, Nana, Uhuru to everybody, everyone in the chat. So as we close, before we go to summation, which will then lead us into the closeout, we want you, Bigga Dre, to leave. This is basically like your commercial. Leave everyone with what you want to leave them with verbally, and you can put it in the chat. What you're working on, what you already kind of went through, but the main thing of what you're working on, anything you want us to check out beside, other than what you already told us. Any social media, basically, do you want us to follow you, your social media platforms, all of that? Go.
Okay, so again, for those who would like to participate in the campaign, you can hit me up. My Gmail is officialbiggadre@gmail.com. I actually put it in the chat as well. For those who like to support and donate to the campaign, find out a little bit more about the campaign, you can go to app.99pledges.com/fund/eschatology 2021. If that's too much for you, you can follow me on Instagram at official Bigga Dre, and in the link in my bio, it'll take you right to the campaign. And that's how you can participate. I want to encourage those who, if you do follow me on social media, there's a clip that I have, and like I said, they're censoring this type of content because some of the main people who are in control of these platforms are the people who are participating in these acts. I would say allegedly. I can't point the finger at anyone, but I don't see why you would want to censor a public service announcement about human beings being trafficked. And if you go to my page, you can see that there have been quite a few attempts to stop this message from going out. And I see all kinds of ridiculous stuff on social media. So, you can follow me on Instagram. It's official Bigga Dre. And also the like I said about making things going viral. We make some of the most foolish things go platinum. Purchase the PSA, not the song, but the PSA. Play it. Share it with your when you're sharing something on social media that relates to the Ma'afa or human trafficking or sex trafficking. You could put this eschatology. You can use this music, but go the eschatology, Bring Our Girls Back, is on all digital platforms. You just type in the artist Bigga Dre, eschatology, Bring Our Girls Back, and you can purchase it. We should make this, they're making all kinds of derogatory, degenerative songs go platinum. And here we go. We have some content that can mobilize the people and get them in the right set of mind to make them feel like I felt when I start hearing that commentary that you hear at the beginning of the song. I heard that and I was like, yo, the way it's hit me, I want somebody to feel like how I feel so they can respond like how I responded. They might not make a PSA, but they might create a community hub where they share information or a place of refuge for someone who may be at risk of trafficking. So that's the goal. The eschatology 2021. This campaign is the goal. We're going to keep on pushing. Originally, when I found out about it, it was 64,000 Black women missing. Came back to revisit because, you know, it never left my spirit, never left my soul. I came back and it's 75,000. I felt just as responsible for not doing something when I initially heard about it. I'm like, I felt responsible with, hey, 64,000, now it's 75,000. You know, so we can't point the finger at each other. We have to, you know, the helping hand that you're looking for is at the end of your arm. And we have to just, we gotta get moving. You know, we have to do something. And if I could be a beacon of light, and you know, they say the best way to teach is by way of example. If I can get out there and start moving, and hopefully it can inspire some people. So definitely, I want people to, you know, get the PSA, use it on your social media, play it, share it, let some people put in your conversations at school, whatever you got to do. Let's get it out there.
Ashe. Well, people, you heard it here first.
So Fights, you can close this out and we'll open it up.
Right on. So Uhuru comrades, we want to again thank you for participating and watching and viewing this installment of the Uhuru Mindset Show. Salute to our leadership, Chairman Amalia Shatella, and also our international president of Mpdm, President Columbayi and the Net. For our viewers out there, if this is your first time watching the show, you know, we're very glad you tuned in and you got a chance to see our guest this week, which was Bigga Dre. And there were a lot of things that were going on in the chat and while we view the show, and we're probably looking at other kind of information as we, you know, doing this event here, this recording. And, you know, human trafficking in itself, Bigga Dre, our guest, he said that's kidnapping, basically. You know, he broke it down. That's real simple, kidnapping. And when we think of kidnapping, we think of like, you know, some kind of sketchy character in a vehicle late at night or something, and just snatching up primarily children. We're thinking these kidnapping victims will be younger people. And the tagline of Bigga Dre's campaign, it says "Bring our girls back," right? And you know, every single day, I think there's a whole host of a sector of the African community that's been thrusted into our prisons, our young men, you know, which are packing the prisons. And what we've learned since then is that African women, Black women, the rate of number of African women going into the prison system was surpassing the number of African men going in. So much so that they made a show around it called I think it was called Orange is the New Black or something like that, right? And that again, that's what we call in our particular movement, that's genocide. You know, anytime there's a situation where one group removes members of one group to another group, that's genocide. You know, and there might be removals happening for different kind of reasons, whether it's producing a service or sexual, where sex trafficking was mentioned in this particular taping. But what it is a situation where African people, we're being attacked. This is a part of an attack on our community. This is part of our attack on our people and a part of our attack of our dispersed African nation. And that kidnapping of African people from Africa is that dispersal. That's the kidnapping. You know, that's the human trafficking. That so much so gave rise to the wealth that the white world appreciates today, and continues to maintain that relationship by its incarceration system, by its prison system, by its institutions that it has, like the police, who are vamping our communities every single day, breaking up families, where there's ordinances where, based upon a certain situation between an African man and African woman, that African man can't stay in that home, or that African woman will be deprived of services and resources. You see situations in the child care systems, are even given incentives for foster care. All these different things is part of the attack on African people, the African nation, and that, again, that speaks to human trafficking, which we understand as discussion. It's very serious. I know there was some sort of mention about feminization of the Black man. And let's say if feminization of the Black man is a tactic of the colonizer, we understand that the colonizer in itself is the main, you know, perpetrator attacking our communities. and whatever kind of attack it uses to do that, that's something else that we need to discuss and figure out. But that's going to be in our behalf. That's going to be in our interest and on our dime, you know. Doing these type of programs, doing this type of media, doing this type of music should always be used as a galvanizing apparatus to win our people to liberation, to win our people to join organizations, support projects like Bigga Dre is putting out. And we're saying that it's not, you know, some character traits of African people or sexual orientation or any of those things that that motivate the colonizer to do what it does to African people. It has a parasitic relationship to African people. So the only way that parasite is going to continue to thrive, it's got to feed off of us, and not just on what we consume in terms of media and music and whatnot, but how we think and how we engage each other and go out into the world and what we plan to do to change this dynamic. Our hosts talk about different things to look for and check for, but we're very clear. Only an organized African community can stop the human trafficking. Only an organized African community can stop these attacks that's happening to African people. So again, we urge everybody to get involved in organization. Join Mpdm at mpdm.org. Get involved with our programs and the strategy that Bigga Dre is taking on, eschatology, bring our girls back home. And we want to say, comrades, we got to have the Uhuru mindset. Uhuru means freedom. Freedom must be on our mind 24/7. And any kind of tact or any kind of attack that's happening to our people, we got to know exactly how to characterize it, get to the root of the problem, and uproot that problem. You know, parasite can't live simultaneously with the host, or the host can't live simultaneously with the parasite. We got to get rid of the parasite. We got to get rid of the colonial mindset, and we got to keep the Uhuru mindset, Uhuru.
I just wanted to add, when they see the visual for this, that's another thing. We can talk about it, we can post, but we're reactionary creatures. And everything that you said about these different principalities, it will be displayed. You can see the clip now. I have the clip of what's taking place so people can see it. But I'm glad that you spoke. You put it in great words, man. So I give thanks to you for that, man, because you basically gave them a preview.
You look excited right now. So until next time, stay in the Uhuru state of mind.